It's a feeling every student knows. You've just pulled an all-night study session, pored over textbooks, and chugged enough coffee to power a small city. You close the book, exhausted but confident, feeling like you've downloaded an entire semester's worth of knowledge into your brain. But then, the next day, you sit down for the exam, and nothing. It's a blank. The information that felt so solid just hours ago has evaporated, leaving a frustrating fog. You can almost feel the answer, but you just can't grasp it. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Why does this happen? Why does our brain seem to betray us when we need it most? The answer lies in a fundamental flaw in how we learn, a flaw we can fix. Today, we're diving into the science of forgetting. We'll uncover why your memory fails, and more importantly, I'll give you 3 powerful science-backed hacks to make learning stick for good. Our story begins in the late 19th century with German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus. At a time when psychology was more philosophy than science, Ebbinghaus was obsessed with a radical idea: measuring a mental process, like memory, with mathematical precision. He became his own guinea pig in a series of grueling, years-long experiments. To test pure memory, untainted by previous knowledge, he created over 2,300 nonsense syllables, meaningless 3-letter combinations like ZOF or GX. His task was simple yet brutal: memorize long lists of these syllables until he could recall them perfectly. Then he systematically tested himself to see how much he forgot over different periods, minutes, hours, days, and weeks. What he discovered was both shocking and revolutionary. He found that forgetting isn't a slow, gradual process. It's an immediate and catastrophic collapse. Within just 20 minutes of learning a list, he had already forgotten over 40% of it. After 1 hour, he could only recall about 44% of the syllables. And after a mere 24 hours, a staggering 70% of the information had vanished. He plotted these results on a graph, creating what is now famously known as the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. This curve is the hidden enemy of every student. It's the scientific reason why cramming is one of the most ineffective learning strategies ever devised. So, what drives this dramatic memory loss? Scientists have identified 3 main culprits. The first is simple memory decay. Think of a memory as a path you forge through a dense forest. The first time you learn something, you create a new neural pathway in your brain. But if you never walk that path again, nature takes over. Weeds grow, branches fall, and soon the path becomes faint and eventually disappears. In your brain, the connections between neurons that form a memory trace, or engram, weaken over time if they aren't reactivated. It's the brain's use it or lose it policy in action. The second cause is interference. Your brain isn't a clean, empty hard drive. It's a bustling metropolis of thoughts, facts, and experiences. When you try to learn something new, it has to compete for space and clarity. There are 2 types of interference. Retroactive interference is when new information messes with old information. For example, you study French in the morning and then Spanish in the afternoon. When you try to recall the French vocabulary later, you might find Spanish words popping into your head instead. The new learning has interfered with the old. Then there's proactive interference, where old information gets in the way of new learning. This is why you might struggle to remember your new phone number because your old one is so deeply ingrained, or why you keep typing your old password after you've been forced to change it. Your brain is so used to the old pathway that it struggles to create and use the new one. This constant collision of information makes it hard for any single memory to remain clear and distinct. The third, and perhaps most critical cause, is retrieval failure. This is the tip of the tongue phenomenon. The information isn't actually gone. It hasn't decayed or been interfered with. It's just inaccessible. Imagine your memory is a gigantic library. The book you need, say, the formula for photosynthesis, is on a shelf somewhere, but you've lost the card catalog entry. You have no retrieval cue, no signpost telling you where to look. Passively rereading your notes is like wandering aimlessly through the library, hoping you stumble upon the right book. You might recognize the cover, but that doesn't mean you can find it on demand during a high-pressure exam. The memory exists, but your ability to retrieve it is weak. So we have decay, interference, and retrieval failure all working against us. It sounds like a losing battle, but it's not. By understanding these enemies, we can deploy targeted strategies to defeat them. This is where our 3 memory hacks come in. These aren't just clever tricks, they are scientifically proven methods for fighting the forgetting curve and building durable, long-term knowledge. Hack number 1 is spaced repetition, our ultimate weapon against memory decay. The logic is simple. Instead of reviewing material in one massive block, you space out your review sessions over increasing intervals of time. Each time you revisit the information, you send a powerful signal to your brain. Hey, this is important, don't delete this file. This act of repeated retrieval interrupts the forgetting curve and forces it to reset. With each spaced review, the rate of forgetting slows down. The path in the forest is walked again, making it clearer and more permanent. Here's a practical way to implement it. After you first learn something, your first review should happen within 24 hours. This is the most critical review, as it counteracts that initial steep drop. Your next review could be a few days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks, and so on. You can use digital flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet that have spaced repetition algorithms built right in. Or you can go old school with the Lightner system, using a few boxes to sort physical flashcards based on how well you know them. A college sophomore I spoke with, let's call her Maya, told me, "I used to spend the entire weekend before a midterm rereading everything. It was miserable. Now I spend just 20 minutes each day reviewing flashcards from previous weeks. By the time the exam comes, I already know the material cold. It feels like a superpower." Hack number 2 is active recall, our direct counter to retrieval failure. This is the crucial shift from being a passive recipient of information to an active participant in your own learning. Passive review, like rereading, highlighting, or rewatching a lecture, is dangerously deceptive. It creates an illusion of competence because the material feels familiar. But familiarity is not the same as knowledge. Active recall, also known as retrieval practice, forces your brain to actively retrieve information from scratch. It's hard, it can feel uncomfortable. But that mental struggle, that desirable difficulty, is precisely what forges strong, lasting memory pathways. How do you practice active recall? It's simple. After reading a section of a textbook, close it and try to summarize the key ideas aloud or on a blank piece of paper. Don't just look at a solved example problem. Try to solve it yourself first. Create flashcards with a question on one side and the answer on the other, and actually force yourself to say the answer before you flip it over. One of the most powerful techniques is to try and teach the concept to someone else. If you can explain it simply, you truly understand it. Every time you successfully retrieve a memory, you're not just reinforcing the memory itself, you're strengthening the retrieval path, making it easier to find that book in the library next time. Finally, we have hack number 3, mind mapping. This is our strategy for combating interference by creating rich, interconnected, and unique memory structures. Our brains don't think in linear black and white lists. We think in pictures, connections, and associations. A mind map mirrors this natural, radiant way of thinking. Instead of writing down notes line by line, you start with the central concept in the middle of the page. Then you radiate out with main branches for key topics and smaller branches for details, examples, and questions. The key is to use colors, drawings, symbols, and single keywords instead of long sentences. This process engages your whole brain. It forces you to think about the relationships between different pieces of information, creating a dense web of associations. This makes your memories more robust and less susceptible to interference. If you forget one piece of information, you have dozens of other connected pathways you can follow to retrieve it. It's like building multiple bridges to the same island. If one is out, you can always take another. A high school student named Ben told me, "For my history final, I created a giant mind map for the entire American Revolution. It had dates, people, key battles, and causes all linked together with colors and little doodles. During the exam, I could literally visualize the map in my head and trace the connections to find the answers. It was way better than flipping through hundreds of pages of linear notes." So there you have it. The forgetting curve isn't a life sentence, it's a challenge. And now you have the tools to meet it head-on. Spaced repetition fights the natural decay of memory over time. Active recall builds strong, reliable retrieval pathways. And mind mapping creates rich, interconnected knowledge that resists interference. It's not about studying harder or longer. It's about studying smarter, in harmony with how your brain is actually designed to learn. Don't waste another minute of your precious study time being a victim of the forgetting curve. Take control. I challenge you to pick just one of these hacks and apply it this week. Use spaced repetition for your language vocabulary. Use active recall on your next chapter of biology. Create a mind map for your next lecture. See for yourself what a profound difference it can make. Let us know in the comments below which technique you're going to try first. And if you're ready to unlock more secrets about your brain and transform the way you learn, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because mastering your memory is the first step to mastering your